Whatever, I was sleeping by the door. I was down bad, didn't want no one to know. I was on my own, didn't have nowhere to go. Everything I seen was a test. I was born to be a soldier, nothing less. This is the life that I chose. This the life that I chose. This the life that I chose. This the life that I chose. See, I was born to be a soldier. See, I was born to be a soldier. This is the life that I chose. See, I was born to be a soldier. See, I was born to be a soldier. This is the life that I chose. See, I was born to be a soldier. See, I was born to be a soldier. This is the life that I chose. See, I was born to be a soldier. See, I was born to be a soldier. Left, right, left. All black is the uniform. Soldier dead and gone, I'm forever pouring liquor for him. Try me on my brothers, and I'll be moving body for him. Came up out the struggle and maintained through the storm. Niggas dying for dead presidents, fucking up their residence. White man dirty tricks, they call this shit politics. Vagabonds, and they some natural born lunatics. That what they is. They shut you down when you speaking truth. It black boots when you in the truth. It black boots when you in the truth. This is the life that I chose. See, I was born to be a soldier. 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 Left, right, left. And prophet of the Lord, gotta teach this beat, exposing all the lies with the truth. Now they can see the evil, we the lost children of the Lord. Y'all should holler, chopping heads off with my sword. Holy Bible, one west, one west, one west, one west, one west, till they bury me. One west, one west, yeah, one west, one west, one west, till they bury me. I'm really for my people, y'all just playing games. Started on the streets back in '69. Read it in the records, now I want what's mine. Came up from the dust, now you see the shine. Ain't no cowards in my camp, all we know is grind. Priest and prophet of the Lord, gotta teach this beat, exposing all the lies with the truth. Now they can see the evil, we the lost children of the Lord. Y'all should holler, chopping heads off with my sword. Holy Bible, one west, one west, one west, one west, one west, till they bury me. One west, one west, one west, one west. One west, till they bury me. Well, it's verse 2 when it's game time. Shield of David, no game sign. Nothing but truth that we bring to you. Change of the spirit, we breaking loose. Repent for your sins and from within. Become a new man and be you stand. For all the people who need you. Damn right we gon' teach you. Cause the preacher man be lying, telling all them lies, but he still wants your time. For the new car he drive. It's 9 time that we wake up. Ain't no devil gon' save us. All we need is the truth. 144 in them boots. Priest and prophet of the Lord, gotta teach this beat, exposing all the lies with the truth. Now they can see the evil, we the lost children of the Lord. Y'all should holler, chopping heads off with my sword. Holy Bible, one west, one west, one west, one west, one west, till they bury me. One west, one west, one west, one west, one west, till they bury me.
Shalom. Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alatah. B'Hashem Yahweh Shah to the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer Bon Kayal out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge coming out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I feel a little bit of reverb. Most High Christ. Under Commanding General YAHANNA, okay? And what we do all throughout the earth, in any school, any I.S.U.P.K school, all over the globe, Wednesday night is allotted for the biblical law, okay? And there's something very, very significant about our laws compared to the laws of any nation out of all the 18 nations on the face of the earth. And the fact about our laws is that our laws were given to us by the Most High Power, okay? Our laws mean something. Our laws absolutely have value, okay? We are not a lawless nation like the nation where we're in captivity at this point in time. America is a lawless nation. And what I mean by that is they don't hold themselves accountable. There's really no validity in any of the laws. Lady Justice in America is blind, okay? You can get away with murder in America if you have enough money, if you have enough resources, if you know the right people, okay? America is definitely our last captivity, according to what prophecy says. But beyond that, as Israelites, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you have to understand that you do not have a choice when it comes down to serving the Lord. You must serve the Lord or you will die, okay? Go ahead and give me Proverbs 3:31, brother. You know what? Scratch that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4:1. Start with Deuteronomy 4:1. And so a lot of our people are coming off of a stupor. You know, this past Monday, they celebrated, Martin Luther King Day. We call him in the school Orgy Mike or Michael King. We don't really give him the honor of calling him whatever the earth acknowledges him as because of the gross injustice of him misleading God's chosen people. Martin Luther King was a false prophet, and he did not teach the doctrine of the Bible, okay? He did not teach what is actually written in these pages of this book. He didn't teach that to God's chosen people. He taught against the God of the Bible. He taught against whatever the prophets set up before him. He didn't teach a philosophy of love like the world wants you to think. He taught a philosophy of separation, a philosophy of self-hatred, an ideology of you being subjected to your enemy's authority, okay? You being impoverished, you continue to be on the bottom. But that, we're going to get into that. Go ahead, brother, read what you got.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now, therefore, hearken, O Israel.
Therefore, hearken. What does it mean to hearken? See, we have to familiarize ourselves with this bastardized language. Right. That is a beautiful thing about us being a separate nation is that we have our own separate language. Okay. My brother, Officer Quadam, in the spirit of the Lord, he'll be able to hold down the Lashawan Quadash class this Friday, right. Teaching you of the tongue of angels, man. We have a wholly separate tongue that was given to us by our Father in heaven. So when we see words like hearken, we start scratching our head being Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, but hearken means to do what?
Sir. It means to pay closely attention to listen.
Okay, but you know how we do here. We prove all things in here. They say, don't be sure, make sure, right? We want that Merriam-Webster. That's the only way, I know you've been in class, brother. You know what hearken means. But for the people that are listening that have never seen a real Israelite or a real priest and prophet or ever tuned into an I.S.U.P.K class, this is serious business, okay? And we take this job seriously. Go ahead and read that for me, brother. Definition of hearken.
It says hearken, a verb, to give respectful attention.
So in Deuteronomy, we know this is Moses, right? It's probably Aaron addressing the people. And he said what?
Now, therefore, hearken, O Israel.
To do what now? What the definition say to do?
Says to give respectful attention.
To give respectful attention. To give respectful attention to what? Continue.
O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments.
So we've identified now with communication, you have to have a message, you have to have a sender, and you have to have a recipient of that message. Okay. So we already identified who's speaking here. The first 5 books, this is Moses' book. So we know that Moses or Aaron is speaking right now, right? And the message is to do what? We're going to get to that. But the recipient is Israel, right? The recipient of this message is Israel, not everybody on the face of the earth, okay? And this is why we go so hard against Christianity. This is why we go so hard against Islam and any other false doctrine of man, okay? Israel is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, okay? If you are not black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, go ahead and log off. We're handling family business right now, okay? Now, therefore, hearken, O Israel, O blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Continue.
Unto the judgment, Slakia, unto the statutes and unto the judgments.
Unto the statutes and unto the judgments. So when we think about a statute is nothing more than a fancy word for a law, okay? And in any organization, anything that is structured, you have rules that you must abide by. You got rules in the classroom, you got rules in your mama or your daddy's house. I guess there are so-called rules in the Christian church. Come as you are, right? Go ahead, brother.
The only rule is there's no rules.
There's no rules, right? Yeah, that is the house of Satan, okay? And they teach you to worship the oppressor. Christianity is white supremacy, okay? And you're not going to learn that unless you're in the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, man. Nowhere on the earth are they teaching this, okay? So we said the statutes are laws, rules, right? Keep reading. And unto
the judgments.
So Moses is telling Israel to listen with all due respect to what he is about to say, okay? And he's telling Israel to listen unto the laws, okay, and unto the judgments. So this is the thing about judgment. Judgment is twofold, okay? Since we black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, you hear judgment, we automatically think of a negative thing, okay? We automatically think of a consequence, right? They say judgment is we learn here that judgment is punishment, okay? But if you've ever been in the council, and it's not a bad thing to go through a council, okay? That's a part of our culture. That's a part of our custom. That is our tradition. That's a part of our heritage or our history, is to have councils, okay? If you ever go through a council, you can either be on the good side of a judgment, or the judgment can go against your favor, right? You can either be blessed from the judgment, or you can be cursed or punished from the judgment, okay? And like I said, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we've become acclimated to punishment. We're gluttons for punishment, okay? And it's a very unfortunate thing, because the Christian church, who are people, who we look to for guidance, who we look to for sound instruction, they're not teaching us that we need to keep the laws. They're not teaching us that there is actual punishment for breaking God's laws. They teach that the laws are what? The laws are nailed to the cross. The laws are done away with, right? Fayetteville said that it was a sin for you to keep the law. Go ahead, brother.
He said, and I quote, that the devil wants you to keep the law.
The who?
The devil wants you to keep the law.
Good night. Our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, okay? And he does not want you, being a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, to keep any laws, okay? The court systems were set up to keep you under their authority. You ever heard of mass incarceration? Have you ever heard of the school to prison pipeline? These are real things that occur. And our people are the ones that usually, more often than not, are the ones that suffer from these things, okay? When you look at the populations of any prison or any jail, is predominantly black and Hispanic. Okay. So you got to take heed. And what did that word hearken say? Got this brother looking at everything. Salakia.
Says hearken, to give respectful attention.
Give respectful attention to these laws, these statutes, and these commandments, man. This is how you reverse all the generational curses that are upon blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Salakia. Let me silence my phone. Continue with that verse, brother.
Khan, which I teach you, for to do them.
Which I teach you. So you have to learn, you have to be taught how to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. This isn't something that you come out of the womb doing. You know the things that you teach a child. What are some of the things you teach a child?
It's like it for me.
Yeah.
Teach a child, what to eat, what not to eat. Teach a child, what to touch and what not to touch in regards to the stove.
Right.
That hot water heater.
You got to teach a child everything.
Right. Everything.
So essentially, Israel, we're like children right now on the earth when we shouldn't be. We should know what to eat, what foods. There's things that people put in their mouths that they consider food. We don't even consider it food. My children alone, like they read ingredients. They might not be able to read all those words, phosphate and sodium and all that stuff, but they see that big G on the gelatin, and if it don't say beef before it, they already know they can't eat it. And you know what? They don't pitch a fit about not being able to. They're more disgusted at the fact that it's inside of the candy. That's what they're disgusted at. They're disgusted at the fact that their brothers and sisters, their friends, their peers eat this stuff and don't know. So as Israelites, as priests and prophets, you have to lead by example. You have to teach your children. Okay, so they're the future leaders. They're the future leaders of our nation. Okay, so keep reading with that, brother. Salaki.
For to do them.
For to do them. Okay, so we know that this involves action, right? This involves action. It ain't no sitting on your hands, twiddling your thumbs. When we think about our leadership, they don't jump to action. When it comes down to our suffering, we get gunned down in the street. The only actions that I see is people going picketing, protesting, okay, which devolve into so-called riots. And Commander General YAHANNA, he said we're not the ones that's breaking into these stores, initiating the looting. Now, yeah, granted, our people will do that because you hoard every resource from us.
Right.
What do you expect what do you expect any living thing to do when you back it up against a wall and you restrict food, you withhold shelter, you withhold clothing, you don't give them an option. So if your back is up against the wall, what are you going to do? We do these things out of desperation, man. And we're desperate because we have zero understanding about who we are or about what we're supposed to be doing, okay? And I fought the Christian church. I fought the Roman Catholic Church. I fought the Muslim mosque. I fought Islam, man. I fought every so-called black leader that has a platform. If you have any following on social media and you call yourself what do they call themselves? Influencers, right?
Right.
You have the power of influence. You have the power to manipulate someone's rationale, man, their decision making. If you have that platform and you profess to be a so-called influencer, what are you teaching the people that's beneficial to them? What are you teaching our people that's going to actually rise us up out of the conditions that we're in? Teaching us to invest in NFTs and real estate? What are we learning? What are we learning from these influencers? How to do the latest TikTok dance? How to be more of a whore or a whoremonger? What are we learning? How to be the best drug addict or the most fashionable? You got a Birkin bag with zero money in savings, zero money in the bag. You just got the bag. What are we learning? What are we learning from these so-called influencers, man? What are they influencing us to do? They're influencing us to turn our backs on the Most High Power, man. Okay, That's why they hate us. That's why the world hates whenever a priest and prophet and all toxic masculinity, okay? It's not toxic at all. This is the best thing for you. This is medicine, okay? You see a priest and prophet telling you to put down the cigarettes, to put down the weed, man. Stop abusing alcohol. Stop abusing one another, man. Don't be a whoremonger. Don't be a sexual deviant. You know, you learn all these things in here. The church is not going in on these things because your pastor, he enjoys the fruits or that wine of America and that wine of the other nations. Shalom, brother. It's good to see you, brother. Yeah, that's strength, you know. Come in one day, put on all black. Day two. This is a beautiful thing. But tell the people where you are, brother.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 1. Now, therefore, hearken, O Israel.
Therefore, hearken. And we said hearken means to what? Listen with what kind of respect, right? Be attentive, right? We're talking about, this is the law class for those of us that don't know. Every Wednesday night, first of all, let's start off with Monday. Monday is the history class. Usually General Muhammad teaches it here in North Carolina. Captain I.S.U.P.K, he teaches the history class. Tuesday night, we go into the brotherhood class. Okay, that's what you experienced yesterday. And on Wednesday nights, we go into the biblical law class. All right. Thursday night is a mandatory class throughout all of Israel. You need to be tuned in. It's General Muhammad's class. Sometimes my brother, Captain Tazariak, will hold down the Thursday night class. It's still mandatory. Okay. Because he's teaching what General Muhammad teaches. General Muhammad teaches what Commander General YAHANNA teaches. You know, we one mind, one body, one spirit. Okay. We all teach the same thing. All right. Now, brothers might put their own little, you know, personality on breakdowns, you know, but we're teaching, thus saith the Lord. Okay. We're not teaching against this Bible like Martin Luther King or what's the sodomite that rubbed spit all over that brother's face.
Like sir, Mike Todd.
Who?
Mike Todd.
Good night, man. We don't teach in that spirit. Okay. And then Friday nights, after scripture breakdown on Thursday, Friday nights, we go into the Lashawan Kodash class. So, you know, your whole life, you never knew that you had as a Negro, okay, your own separate language. And it's not Yoruba or what are them African languages? What do they speak in Africa? Because African is not a language. You do know that, right? Who? How it sound? Right. I just know Yoruba. I know they offer that on the collegiate level. A lot of people were taking it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. The Nigerians have their own dialect. They have their own language. People from Ghana, they have their own language. People from Cameroon, they have their own language, man. But you as a black man, what do they say your language is? Ebonics? No, man. Don't be so simple, okay? We have our own separate language, and it's the Lashawan Kodash, okay? Or translated from the Hebrew means the holy tongue, all right? And you got to understand this thing when it comes down to holy. Holy just means separate, all right? It just means separate, set apart. And that's fitting for a separate, set apart nation of people to have their own separate tongue. Even at our lowest, we talked about this, man. Like we develop our own dialects. So when it comes down to Ebonics, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, you know, but that slang, that lingo, you know, that comes from us, man. And the whole world, they copy, they mimic everything from our language to our behaviors, our mannerisms. You ever see a devil that was raised around, you know, an Israelite? You ever seen it? You think of Marshall Mathers, you know, and the spirit that's on him, the way, you know, he bop when he walk, and even the way he emphasizes certain words and stresses certain syllables when he talks, you know, he's still a devil, but he's taken on the spirit of the zeal of Israel. Okay. And it's a sad thing, man. We talk about identity theft. That's what's happened to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. And you should be appalled whenever you see it. I saw a video. Go ahead, brother. Come on, big priest. Yeah.
It's so heavy. So heavy what you're saying, because one, one thing I've always known is everybody want to be a Negro, but you know what I'm saying, the Negroes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody want to be who we are, be about what we're about, but us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody, as us as a people, we don't even see the value in ourselves, man. You know what I mean? We sitting here want to, our sisters rocking blonde hair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Most High gave you the greatest type of hair there is, man.
What's up?
You know what I mean? We need to step into who we are as a people, man. And that's, like you said, that identity theft. We've been stripped from who we are as a people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I may.
Yeah, go ahead. I already know. I already know what time it is.
17 and 4, bro, for sure.
Most High in Christ.
I ain't want to try to teach the class,
No, brother.
It's a long time coming, so it's a lot. You know what I mean? Because I feel like this is definitely a Tawab class you teach. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we don't get in a Christian church.
Right.
You're never going to get any of this. You don't even know who you truly are. You got to.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Like if I may, you know what I'm saying? And that's so heavy, and that's Israel today.
Right.
We was discontinued from our heritage, man. The Most High gave us the greatest thing on this earth was the goddamn world. You know what I mean? But again, we want to step into these other nations and be like them.
Right.
You know what I mean? We talking about we Africans, but you don't see us wearing no ring around our necks. You know what I'm saying? No gauges in our ear, man.
Right.
But they want to rock a dashiki though.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like you said. I just want to get that out.
Man. Most High in Christ. Get that brother a hand, man. Oh man. Brother, if you start talking about ham, that puts me in a different spirit. It does, man, because it's like, how dare you? How dare you act like you are the people of the book, man? The so-called Ethiopians, they have a spirit of arrogance that is just otherworldly. If you've ever been around, Ham or the so-called Africans, they have a spirit of disgust and distaste for so-called Negroes. Okay. And that's because they worship our oppressor. Okay. And they look to what the oppressor has. They literally worship the things that he has, his power. There's no way, as far as Israel being in the right spirit, that we would have allowed colonization to happen like it occurred in Africa. Okay, the European went into Africa and sliced and diced Africa up, man. And it was all contingent to resources, okay, from the earth, literally. And they and the so-called African, they played a very special role in us going into this last captivity. All right. We talk about being captives, man. We are still slaves here in America, man. The Emancipation Proclamation did not free you from the bondages of serving the oppressor in this place. Okay. You got to go. The Bible says for one of all things, right? For one of all things. Matter of fact, we're going to go there next after we finish this off, brother. Salaki. Getting sidetracked here. Tell them where you are.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 1.
Right.
O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments, which I teach you.
No. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
For to do them, that ye may live.
That ye may die.
That ye may live.
That ye may suffer.
That ye may live.
That ye may be miserable.
That ye may live.
That ye may live. That ye may live, man. What does it mean to live? What does it mean to live? I mean, we don't even know what it means to live.
Right.
You think that having money in the bank, and having a slavery that pays you a decent wage and driving a nice car and living in a decent house, you think that's living? Being able to take your kids to Disney World, you think that that's living? Being able to cop Jordans or whatever brothers is wearing, man. High fashion, couture, you think that that's living. That's not living at all, man. You are literally the walking dead. You're the walking dead. You don't have the breath of life. It wasn't breathed in your nostrils, man. Okay? Keep reading that.
Khan.
That ye may live, right? So what this is basically saying is if you don't respectfully acknowledge and study these laws, man, these rules that the Lord gave us. Okay, the inverse to not doing those things is dying. You're not going to keep the law, you are going to die, man. Keep reading that.
Come. And go in and possess the land which the most high power of your fathers giveth you.
That's right, man. You know, we're supposed to have authority and dominion over the earth, man. You know, that was given to Adam way back in the book of Genesis. Okay. But when I look at the world, when I look at the earth, Salakia, you know, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And the wicked, I mean, who's in rulership right now on the earth? Everywhere you go. Who's in rulership? It's not blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians as it should be. It's all the other nations, our so-called oppressor, our enemies. They're the ones that are in rulership, okay? They're the ones that possess the land. And this is the reason why the land is defiled. This is the reason why we deal with pollution. This is the reason why global warming is a real thing. The earth is sick because it is not being cared for the way that it should be. Everything, every ecosystem on the planet is out of whack right now. I mean, I never thought it would be, you know, just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it was like 70 something degrees in December, man. I mean, what that don't make it make sense. You talk about global warming, that is a real thing. And it's because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, man. Our oppressor, you know, they don't know what to do with the earth. They rob the earth of its riches, man, of every resource, you know, instead of, you know, hoarding every resource to themselves, you know. That's what they do. They're supposed to be, you know, good stewards of the world, of the earth, literally. You know, there's enough land for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to, you know, exist elsewhere in America. Okay, but we're all driven to these treasure cities. You know, we're stuck in the barrio, we're stuck on a reservation. You know, we're stuck in the ghetto, man, living in the projects, stuck in the favelas, man. You know, our suffering is a spiritual thing, and we can all relate to it. If you're black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, you know about poverty. You know about drug addiction. You know about sexual deviancy and how it plagues our communities. You know about gang violence and people losing their lives too soon to gang violence and gun violence, man. That's because we're not living. We've had the church since we've been here in America, man. Over 400 years, we've had Christianity. It has done nothing but further worsen our conditions. It's time for us to do a new thing, okay? And it's not a new thing. This is our old heritage here. We got to turn back to serving the Lord, man. We have to. It's imperative. Our survival is dependent upon this action, okay? So continue. Keep reading. Yep. Khan. Salakia.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you.
All right. So how can you add to the word? How are you adding to the word? Who adds to the word?
Salakia, if I may, sir. Christian church.
Okay, you say that. Why? Why do you say the Christian church adds to the word?
Salakia, if I may, they add to the word to benefit themselves. They add to the word to fill their pockets up and keep the church full, and not preaching the exact word for word doctrine that only blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are going to inherit the kingdom and be rulers over the kingdom.
Okay.
Yes, other people will be in the kingdom, but the Christian church grasps them in as they will be, quote unquote, co-heirs of the kingdom. Spiritual
Israel, right. Huh? Ain't that a shame?
Yep.
Adding to the word, okay? You know, teaching that it's acceptable for you to have a Christmas service or a watch night service on New Year's. You know, serving a whole hog, man, a Boston butt in the fellowship hall of the church, and got the audacity to pray over it. You touching an agreement in the spirit of homosexuality and praying over pork. Don't make sense. Go ahead, sis.
To marry outside of our race.
Oh yeah. That's exact. Give that sister a hand, man. That's exactly what I'm saying. You know, and we're gonna get into Michael King here in just a few moments. You know, because he definitely, this is what the scripture is talking about. Right. Add into the word. Go ahead, brother.
Now, too, they also say that you have to get dipped in water in order to inherit the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
If you're 7-day Adventist, you got to wash feet every other month.
And
get on your hands and knees and wash another grown man's feet. If not, you're not practicing humility.
Good night. You're absolutely right about that. The ordinance of humility is what they call that. You know, where they separate the men from the women and children, and the men go into a separate room and take off their shoes and stick it in the pan of water, and you got to wash their feet. It was a very, very weird thing. You washing the foot of some Hamite, you know what I'm saying? Good night. It's a terrible thing, man. And this is the stuff that we subject ourselves to because we don't know any better. We don't know who we are, man. If you knew that you were the only royalty on the face of the planet, you would not do that. You wouldn't. That's not the spirit of what Christ did when he washed the disciples' feet. That's a totally different thing. You know, they don't even understand. This is the thing. You know, when you start reading the Bible, and you learn the Bible under the oppressor, they don't have an understanding, you know, of spiritual things. They don't have a spiritual mind, man. They are carnal. Right. You know, Esau was carnal. He was a man of the field, literally, you know, and he put no value in that which was spiritual. You know, the spirit of going out in the field, going on a hunt, you know, that's one thing, right? But to stay out there to the point where you're famished, to the point where you're near dying is another thing, man. And then you come back and you put your brother between a rock and a hard place. You know what I mean? With regard to Jacob, we all know the story of Jacob and Esau. You know, if not, go ahead and look it up. You know what I'm saying? But Esau was a fool. He was an absolute fool. It was barbaric the way that he conducted himself. You know, he didn't have to go into the field to do that. He didn't have to do that. You know, Isaac, he liked the venison that he brought in. Right. He liked it, but it wasn't absolutely necessary for him to do that. You know what I'm saying? Not to the point of dying. I'm pretty sure, you know, his father would have preferred him to be at home, dwelling in the tent like Jacob. You know, Salakia. Keep reading that verse, brother.
Neither shall ye diminish aught from it.
Right. You can't take away from the word of the Lord. You can't. But saying that the laws are done away with, man, you are literally diminishing the most vital part of the Bible, man. You're taking away the doctrine that Christ taught throughout the earth. You're taking it away. You're diminishing this perfect book, man, this living book, okay? Our history book. And that's what you got to understand if you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. This is our record here, okay? Continue.
That ye may keep the commandments.
That ye may throw them away.
That ye may keep the commandments.
That you may save them for a rainy day.
That ye may keep the commandments.
That ye may keep the commandments, man. Most High Christ. What does it mean to keep anything? You hold on to what? All sorts of keepsakes, your yearbook. Right. If you play sports, you got your letter from, you know, you're a letterman or whatever, JV, varsity. You know, you keep those things. You know, you put value in those things. Got letters from your girlfriend when you was in 5th grade. You hold on to that. The love will never die in that, right? But you don't have the understanding to keep the commandments because the church teaches against it. Right? It's strange to keep the law. It's strange to not serve other gods. Okay? That's a strange thing. We look strange to people that do that. So when you celebrate Christmas, you know that's the worship of another God. You do know that, right? And people look at you like you're strange when you say you don't. They're like, Merry Christmas, you know? How do you respond to that? With silence? If it's a heathen, you know, you just keep it moving, you know? But when it comes down to our people, you got to be apt to teach, man. Right. That's an opportunity to gain a brother. It's an opportunity to gain a sister. You know, to teach them, like, man, we don't do Christmas, man. Right. Christmas is the worship of Nimrod, man. That's right. you know, and then go into it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be authorized, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You must be authorized. Come in here, put on all black, do your 90 days, man. Get your name. Do it the right way. We do all things in decency and order in this place, man. Okay? We're going to reestablish ourselves as the royalty on the face of this earth. Okay? And the only people that are doing that work is in the I.S.U.P.K under Command of General YAHANNA.
That's right.
Okay? Keep reading.
Keep the commandments of the Most High, your power.
Your who?
Your power.
He didn't say anybody else's power. It says your power, Israel, so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Indian man, woman, and child. This is possessive. We have a power.
Right.
The only power, the only one true living power of the universe, man. The God that created everything. That's our power. The other nations, they don't have any power in their gods, man. There's no life in any of their gods.
Right.
That's why they have so many of them. Okay? You look at your average calendar year, every month they got a holiday or so-called holiday that they hold in high esteem, that they honor, you know, that is the worship of another God, man. We're going to run that down one of these classes, you know what I'm saying? Going into January, you know, what January is what? It's the worship of Janus, right? That's why you celebrate the new year. You're looking back, reflecting on the past year, and then you're looking forward. That's why you make these so-called resolutions. There's nothing resolute about the new year. You don't know. Tomorrow's not promised to nobody, man.
Right.
You talking about what you're going to do in the summer, man. The Lord might take your life today. Right. You know, so man, it's time for you to get your life together. You know, you can't tarry when it comes down to that. Keep reading, brother.
Yes, sir.
No, we're gonna run this down.
Okay.
Verse 3, your eyes have seen what the Most High did of Baal Peor.
Right, and I believe, you know, if you can get your Zondervan Bible dictionary, and it'll go into Baal Peor, and I believe he was like a deity of the Moabites, okay, the offspring of Lot from an incestuous union with his daughter, okay, but that's a false god. That's a false deity, okay. And the Lord, you know, he reacted because we were worshiping these things. We were worshiping this so-called deity. Keep reading.
For all the men that followed Baal Peor,
What did the Lord do to him?
the Most High, thy power, have destroyed them from among you.
The Most High, you know, he's not about hugs and kisses, man. The Bible says the Lord is a man of war, man. You need to get that in your spirit, man. General Muhammad said, turn down the goddamn music, soul child. Turn it down, because you're turning into an effeminate being in this place, okay? There's no such thing as toxic masculinity unless you're a barbarian, unless you're a troglodyte. That's toxic masculinity, you know? But you being a black man with beard and braids and putting on boots and wearing warlock apparel, ain't nothing toxic about that. That's beautiful, man. That's a beautiful thing. Now you're moving in the correct spirit. And the people around you, they react differently to that. They're not going to look at you like you're soft because you wearing periwinkle and you got your ankles out. You got on high waters. What's that trend that they're doing with the prom suits? Brothers got the man, they look like gauchos almost, slim gauchos. What do you call them joints? Most High in Christ. But yeah, man, even with regard to what you wear, man. Keep reading.
Khan.
Said the Lord God has destroyed them from among you. They're not around, okay?
Right.
And that speaks volumes about in here, okay? If you in the wrong spirit in here, you're gonna glow. You're gonna stick out like a sore thumb, man. And you're not gonna be able to stay. The Ottawa was bringing it out yesterday, man. We seen a lot of brothers come and go. You know, you come in here and Lord willing, you stay in here, you know, and don't be a coward, man, and leave. You know, we're supposed to be joined together as brothers and sisters, man, in the spirit of the Lord. You know, it's a beautiful thing when we gather ourselves together, as Zephaniah, you know, professes we should do. That's a declaration, okay? We follow orders in here, all right? Keep reading.
Verse 4, But ye that did cleave unto the Most High your power.
But ye that did what?
Cleave.
Cleave. What does it mean to cleave? What does it mean to cleave? Think about it. But ye that did cleave, because them brothers that was worshiping Baal Peor, they weren't cleaving to the Most High power, man. Go ahead, brother.
It's like the Mason, Merriam-Webster says cleave, to adhere firmly and closely or loyal, salakia,
Most High Christ.
or loyally and unwavering.
Okay, so to adhere what?
Firmly.
To adhere firmly
and closely.
And closely.
Or loyally.
Well, come on, man. We always talk about loyalty being blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I see that tattoo more than anything.
Right.
But we really are devoid of understanding when it comes down to what true loyalty is, man. You can't be loyal to your father. You can't be loyal to anything. I'm talking about the creator that gave you this culture, this separate heritage, man. These laws, these statutes and commandments, he ain't giving them to nobody else. We got the playbook to be in authority, to be in just on top, man. And that's what it's about. It's about us being in authority, but we're on the bottom right now because we're not cleaving unto our power, man. Keep reading.
And unwaveringly.
Okay, now go back to the verse. Most High Christ, the water for that.
Verse 4. But ye did, that ye that did cleave unto the Most High power are alive, every one of you this day.
Run that back. Run that. Go slow, brother. Pause. Go slow.
Verse 4. But ye.
You have to do that in this day and age, unfortunately. There's nobody in here that leads that type of lifestyle.
Right.
But for the people that are at home, they might get a kick out of hearing something like that. That's the reason why we said that. But Salakia, go ahead, brother.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 4. But ye that did cleave unto the Most High your power.
Your power.
Are alive.
Are what?
Alive.
Are alive.
Every one of you this day.
Each and every one of you this day, man. If you want to live, you better learn how to cleave into the Most High power. You're not cleaving to the Lord being in the Christian church, man. That's not cleaving unto the Lord, man. It's a very disgraceful thing to be a black, Hispanic, Native Indian, and you still going to the Christian church in 2022, so-called the year 2022, man. That's a shameful thing, man. It's obvious to us because we know who we are, but it's sad to look and see our brothers and sisters, continuing to choose otherwise, man. Why would you choose any other culture outside of God's culture if that's what you were given? You think you got options because you worship the oppressor. You worship his so-called freedom, his liberty, It doesn't make sense. Keep reading, brother.
Verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
Behold, man, pay attention. Look, you behold anything. What are you doing? You're making a real close observation, right? Or do we need to make sure? What does that word behold mean? Behold. It's a very old, ancient word there. We talk about old English, right? Behold. Who speaks like that in this day and age? What does it mean to behold?
It's like if I may say, it says, behold, to perceive through sight or apprehension, to gaze upon.
Behold what?
Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
That's right. We talked about the laws or the rules by which you're supposed to live, right? Not eat no pork, no shrimp, no crab, no lobster, right? Not worshiping other gods, right? Loving your brother and sister. That's law. Right. Okay. Continue. In the judgments, we talked about judgment. Judgment, just punishment. If you keep that in your put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? Recognizing that judgment is punishment. That's the Lord's way of punishing you, for not being obedient, for not taking heed to acknowledging the statutes. Okay, continue.
even as the Most High, my power, commanded me.
Moses is saying, man, I even keep the law. The Lord told me to do this too. I'm not telling you something separate. I'm not like your Christian pastor, man. I'm not like Martin Luther King, who's going to sell you a dream and behind closed doors, I'm a sexual deviant, sleeping with dogs. Keep reading.
That ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess
That's
it.
right, man. We're supposed to be possessing the land. That's right. The reason why we're not is because we're not cleaving unto the Lord. We're not keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, man. You know, if you want to rise to power, you literally want to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, like the oppressor says, you got to reject his culture, man. You have to reject every way of the oppressor, every single way. Every holiday, you know, brothers that have their attachments to their birthday, Valentine's Day is coming up. What you gonna buy Boopy this year? What you gonna buy her? It's burdensome to even think about that. Wanting to please some whore, man. You're not the only person buying gifts for her. FYI, newsflash. You're not. She got 2, 3, 4, 5 other brothers, especially if she looks like something. I guarantee you she's accepting gifts from, you know, the highest paid suitor, whoever can provide her with the best gifts.
It's like, if I may.
Dirty Mackin.
Hey, she got that big teddy bear on the bed, right? You walking in like, okay. My mama bought me that for Valentine's Day, right?
Right.
But what you're saying is so heavy, man. But a lot of us get caught up in not knowing what the law is because most of us are attracted to things that feel good. Most of us are attracted to things that look good, and we love it because of what? The love that we receive from it. Because you get instant gratification, or you get instant you get that thing that we are the pheromones, or what you call it, euphoria, right?
That's right.
You get that thing that just make you feel good. I like them shoes, man. With Jay's, it's like that. Same thing with Valentine's Day and Christmas. Those gifts give us the instant euphoria that we all love to feel.
Right.
Nobody wants to feel like, oh man, you know. You start hearing the law say you can't do this, you can't do that. And with Israel, we such a regal people. You understand? We that, you know what I'm saying? In spirit, like we love to look good, smell good, dress good.
Right.
And then somebody put some restrictions on you. Like, wait a minute. That's what the law does, but it makes you better for everybody else around you. You know what I'm saying? So you move in a way like nobody feels like they're being left out, and we all have a standard of living. Even the poor in Israel had things to eat. They never went starving.
Right.
Here in America, the poor sleep up under bridges, but they have food and programs all across the world, but they never seem to get fed.
Right.
What is that about? Because the people who run these programs are always looking for the thank yous. You know what I'm saying? You have them food pantries that you go to, they always looking for, for you to shake their hand and feel like they're giving you something.
Right.
I'm giving you something because you're my brother and you need it. And that's what the law does. The law allows us to interact with each other based on what the Lord says, not how we feel. You understand? Keep bringing it out, brother.
Christ. Brother hand, man. We're seeking palliatives. Go ahead, brother.
It's like, you know, how can I forget about that good old work husband? You know,
oh man,
yeah. You get pressure to, you know, celebrate worship other gods and forsake your living God or your living power because God forbid you don't buy your significant other, your girlfriend, spouse, your wife, you know, a Valentine's gift.
Right.
And the pressure, like Officer Zion said, the pressure of all that will make you, you know, disrespect your power. You know what I'm saying? But you know that work husband will be there for.
Oh yeah. Tyrone is there, right? Jody, he always there, lying in the shadows, lurking for his opportunity to sink his teeth in. What did you say? Dirty Mackin? That's what you call it? Good night, man. Continue with that.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
Keep therefore and do them. You got to value these laws, statutes, commandments, man. And it's action, you know, behind doing these laws, man. It takes real action. You know, you'll see, man, brothers battling their demons, man. You know, coming out of the world, you don't even realize how destroyed you are by subscribing to the culture of our oppressor. You know, we talked about how oppressive it is to, you know, buy gifts for every holiday, Christmas especially, your birthday and Valentine's Day and Mother's Day. You know, how many pair of socks you gonna buy your dad, man? You know, it's ridiculous. And you know what started to really wake me up was the fact that it was just like, man, I feel like a hamster on a wheel. This is like a very cyclical thing. You know, we get into this rut of just doing the same thing over and over again every year in and year out. You know, going through the motions. You know, of erecting a Christmas tree and, you know, buying gifts and wrapping the gifts and, you know, people being disappointed. You're pleasantly disappointed with the gift, you know, and never really being fulfilled by doing none of these things, man. You never really get true fulfillment from acknowledging the oppressor's holidays. You just don't, you know. But I got true fulfillment going to the Passover. You know, I don't think brother, I'm glad I had my shades on because I was a crying dog up in there, man. Not crying in weakness, but just crying because, you know, they call them tears of joy. You know what I'm saying? You know, just knowing that my children can play and nobody's going to take advantage of them. You know what I'm saying? Seeing sisters in the right spirit, loving one another, man, not being jealous of one another, helping out, helping support, you know, our nation, you know, brothers full of oil. Ain't nobody got shot. There was no fights. You know what I'm saying? It was just a beautiful thing, you know, and it's complete opposite of what I'm used to. You know, so yeah, that is something to get, not to be emotional, but man, you know, continue with that verse, brother.
For this is your wisdom.
Take it from the top.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
That's right. Keep therefore and do them. Keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, man, and do them. It's very, very important that you do these things. This is what's going to separate you from everyone else, man. You know, this is what you're already separated from everyone else. Nobody desires you. Nobody desires blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We talked about Zephaniah 2:1, where it says that we're supposed to gather ourselves together because we're a nation that's not desired, man. Keep reading, brother. This is our what?
This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
That's right. So, you know, we don't know who we are, but all the other nations, they know exactly who we are.
Right.
You know, and they look at you in a different light whenever they recognize that you're not subscribing to the BS anymore. You know, you're going to pull the plug on all the holidays. Y'all ain't keeping it on the holidays. Somebody asked me the other day, was I a Jehovah's Witness? I said, what? Where did you get that? A Jehovah's Witness because I didn't celebrate no holidays, you know? But I was thankful that they didn't, you know, associate me with doing those wicked and vile acts, man. You know, but no, I ain't no Jehovah's Witness, okay? I'm an Israelite. I'm a priest and a prophet, man. You know, and you can be too. You know, if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian man, you need to find your way into a I.S.U.P.K classroom. We're teaching everywhere, man. We're on the World Wide Web, man. www.isupk.com and .org. You can find us on the World Wide Web, man. We're on the internet. This class right now is being broadcasted over all forms of social media, specific to YouTube and the Facebook. You know, there's no excuse for you not to know who you are. There's no excuse. If you're Black and you don't know that you're an Israelite, when I say Black, I mean a Negro. You're the seed of your father. When you're talking about like Ham or even some of Elam, they're real dark, you know, brown-skinned people, real dark-skinned people, like Kamala Harris. You know, she's not our people. You know, what's my man? Bob Marley was not our people. You know, their fathers were Edomites, were devils. Okay. Your father had to endure those curses from the book of Deuteronomy, man. You know, we're the seed of Abraham, Isaac, but specifically Jacob. Okay. You got to understand that Jacob had 12 sons. Jacob was the progenitor of the nation of Israel. His name was changed to Israel. Okay. So keep reading, brother.
All these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Right, man. They recognize that you're wise by not, coming into the corner store buying a box of Palmer Dutchess. You come in and you get all lawful things. They look at you in a different spirit. They know you're not like the other brothers and sisters. Even though we're just alike, I just know better, so I do better. And you should too, okay? You should too. You can do better. You can be perfect. That's what the Bible says. The church tells you, ain't no perfect people. That's the first thing they tell you, so you get stuck in your mind. You don't even think that you have to improve yourself at all. If you tell me there's no perfect people, then I don't even have to aim for that bar. I could just be content with being imperfect, and I'll be it's totally acceptable. Why would you teach anybody that? We strive for perfection in here. Okay. I want you to be the best version of yourself. If you're Black, Hispanic, Native Indian, you should know who you are. You should know what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. Continue, brother.
Khan, verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who hath the Most High so nigh unto them?
Right. The Lord is not with our oppressor, man. He's not with. All you got to do is repent, man, and turn your back on that culture, on those customs. Learn to keep these laws, man. The Lord will be with you. He'll become that hedge of protection. Okay? He will. I'm proof of that. Every brother in this room that decided to turn away from their wickedness, man, to put that old man to death, literally. It's a spiritual thing. I'm not advocating for violence when I say put the old man to death. It's insulting for somebody to call me from my birth name, the name that my mother and my father gave me. It's insulting to be called by that name. I hold the name that I was given in here, Bon Kayal. I hold that name near and dear to my heart. I honor that name because I know it means something. Continue with that, brother.
Khan, as the Most High, our power is in all things that we call upon him.
That's right, man. The Lord will hear your prayers. Okay, when you start keeping the law, statutes, commandments, Kodam, I know you got that precept. The Lord don't hear sinners' prayers, right? That's what my Bible says. You in the Christian church on Sunday, you in the church period, man. Those prayers that y'all putting up is bouncing around all around the room, man. The Lord is not hearing those prayers at all. You got Beats by Dre headphones on, not listening to your prayers. Salakia. Go ahead, brother. Yeah, go ahead and pull that precept. John 9:31. Yeah, man. The Lord doesn't hear sinners' prayers, man. And you got to understand what sin is according to what the law says. Sin is transgression of the law, according to the book of John. Okay. Sin is transgression of the law, the breaking of the law that the church says is done away with. Is this not the biblical law class? Go ahead and read that, brother.
This is the book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31. Now we know that the Most High heareth not sinners.
Come on, man. Now, that's a brother talking right there. Now that this is our book, man. Right. I ain't never heard a devil speak like that with that type of emphasis, man. Now you know what?
That the Most High heareth not sinners.
And the Lord ain't hearing you. The Lord ain't hearing none of Big Mama's prayers, none of her mama's prayers, none of your elder, deacon, pastor prayers from whatever church. All those prayers were done in vain, man. Because you're sinners. Read that verse again.
It's the book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31. Now we know that the Most High heareth not sinners.
Good night. Is that it on that?
A little bit more. But if any man be a worshiper of the Most High,
right,
and doeth his will,
right,
him he heareth.
That's right. Doing the will of the Father is keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead, sis.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when you say that the Most High does not hear sinners' prayers, right? I'm trying to explain this the right way.
That's it right there.
No, because I really want an explanation. You say he doesn't hear sinners' prayers. I understand that. But my question is that Is it because some of us will have the opportunity to come into the truth? So he preserves our lives
Right.
until we have that opportunity to come into the truth.
Right.
And it's our choice if we come into the truth or not and accept what we've learned.
Is
So
it?
therefore, we're no longer sinners.
Is it your choice?
No, it's not my choice. It wasn't my choice to be here.
It wasn't mine either.
It wasn't my
Well,
choice.
it was
wasn't the
Bonkaya's choice, but
Right.
the other guy, it wasn't his choice.
Right.
He wanted to be a wicked bastard.
Time.
He was dirty macking. Okay. He was content with that. Okay. But when it comes down to that, I mean, do you really have an option? If you're going to choose between life and death, I don't know nobody's going to choose death. You hear people say, oh, Biggie Smalls ready to die. But he didn't really, you think Biggie Smalls wanted to die?
Lie.
He didn't want to die. I don't know any living being that wants to die, literally. I don't know. Even people that have been on death row for 30 years. And now it's time for you to pay the piper. You're having regrets. You want the judge to give you a prayer for honor. Literally, you want him to turn away from that sentence of death. You don't want to receive that. Okay, but to answer your question, ask it one more time. So I went on a tangent there.
So, but really, Michael, I understand the fact that when we're sinners, the Most High does not hear our prayers.
Right.
I understand that. I guess what I'm trying to understand is that, okay, so all these years you sit in church thinking you're doing what's right, you're praying, he doesn't hear your prayers anyway. So is he just preserving your life because there'll become a point in your life where you'll be able to come into the truth?
Right.
To know that you were.
So like, if I may
Go ahead, sir. Yeah.
what you're saying is Tawab says, we got to think about it is, when we say Yabaraka Yahweh, Washamarka, when we say our prayers, we are, read that verse again, Baba Kusha.
It's the book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31.
Now, once again, these are the Lord's words. You understand? When we say, we're not saying our own words, these are the Most High words that we use in his scriptures, okay? Read.
Now we know that the Most High heareth not sinners.
Now, it's like, now we all agree to this. It's like, now we know, like, we're talking, right? Now we know this. Now we know the Lord ain't gonna hit nobody who's smoking weed, who's being a homosexual, or being gay, or selling drugs, or prostitution, committing abortions, eating pork, shrimp, crab. We know this. Israel, that's who we're talking to, right? This book is for the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. Now we know this. We know our God don't hear no prayers. We know our God don't hear no sinners' prayers. Why? Because we are punished for those things. You understand? We don't get to escape our sins. So therefore, we know the Lord what? We know the Lord don't hear sinners' prayers. Think about it like that. Read on.
But if any man be if any man
Meaning man or woman, right? But if any man, we know the Lord don't hear sinning prayers, but check this out though. But guess what though? Read.
Be a worshiper.
Be a what?
A worshiper.
Keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Do what?
A worshiper.
Keep the high holy days. Do what?
Be a worshiper.
Not celebrate Christmas. Do what?
Be a worshiper.
Being a brother or sister, right? Be a what?
Be a worshiper.
You got to figure out what it means to be a worshiper of the Most High, right? Read on.
Of the Most High. And do it.
And do what?
And do it.
And do it meaning what? To live. We talked about this yesterday. You can't just know it. You have to do it, right?
Right.
So now that we know, we the Lord don't hear sinners' prayer, but if you worship and what? And do what? What did it say, sis? Now, if you heard it, right? Now you're a worshiper, but you have to do what also? What did it say? Read it again.
Now we know that the Most High heareth not sinners.
Now we know this, right? Read on.
And Salakia. But if any man be a worshiper,
be man or a woman, go ahead.
Of the Most High.
Of the Most High, what?
And do it.
And they do what?
And do it.
What they have to do, sis? They have to do it, right? Read on.
His will.
His will. The Most High will, not our will. Read on.
Him he heareth.
Commander Junior Hunter that says, man, bless Israel, man. Bless the brothers and sisters out there who do not know that they're Israelites. That's why it's so important that we say our prayers. That's why I felt that's why I know it was important for us to start saying our prayers at the end of classes. Because we want to be the brothers and sisters that are doing what? His what? His will, Most High in Christ. So for those that may be sitting in that Christian church, that grandmother or that grandfather, Commander General Hunter was praying for them. You understand? Come, Most High Christ, give her a hand. You understand? That's why it's important. It's no different from the story of us leaving up out of Egypt, right? So you think everybody that who listened to Moses when they said put the blood, the door, the lamb, blood, they didn't want to listen to Moses. They wanted to worship the golden calf. They wanted to eat all the fine things that Pharaoh gave them. They wanted to enjoy all of it. You understand? They wanted to have an absolute ball. But guess what? When Moses came along, he said, "This is what you better do if you want to do what? If you want to live, if you want to make it through here, you better put what above your door? Blood of a lamb, right?" And guess what? They did it. And all of Israel walked up out of Egypt. But even when they got to the wilderness, guess what happened to them? Moses done brought us out here just to die. They started complaining, correct? They started, man, we ain't ate Moses. We should have stayed in Egypt, man, and ran around with, But somebody was in there that was really doing the Lord's will. Moses was. And because of who Moses was and what he did, he prayed for his people. And the Lord what? Delivered his people. And that's what Commanding General YAHANNA represents. That's what all the captains in the I.S.U.P.K represent. That's what all the officers in the I.S.U.P.K represent. That's what all the troopers and the sisters, you understand? You represent the person who's going to do the Lord's will that can say a prayer that maybe that would save somebody else's life. You understand? Your prayers can heal your daughters. You understand? Just like the woman that asked you how was shot, right? She wasn't even a nation of people, what he say, but because of your faith, your daughter is what? Yeah. So if we do the right thing, you don't think the Lord gonna take care of your children? It starts with you first. It starts with us, right? If it starts with you and you say your mother's not feeling well, hey Lord, I've been rocking hard. I came to class, I put on this all black. I've been serving. I'm trying to understand who you are. If you would think the Lord gonna hear your prayers, they may not hear your mother prayers because she still eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. She still may be celebrating Christmas, but the Lord loves you. You understand? And if you go to him humbly enough and you ask him to forgive your sins and say, Father, please, you understand, help my mother out. Maybe she'll have an opportunity to come in here and learn what I'm learning. You don't think the Lord will hear your prayers? Don't think he won't hear them. Each and every last one of us are a living representation of somebody praying for us somewhere. And that's what this school represents. None of us are sugar, honey, iced tea, but our lives are a direct reflection of what we're praying for. You understand? Like this brother is in here now, his whole family is in here. Who knows what they may be next? Well, I remember when I first met Kawal, he said, I got a brother that's going to be coming. I'm like, okay. You got a brother that's coming in here? Okay. Next thing you know, he had another brother that came in here, right? Kawal must have been praying somewhere. That's right. He must have been saying, Lord, what? Let him see it. Let him just come to class one time and see what happens. You don't think the Lord gonna hear your prayers? That's why it's important that we what? What she say? She said, pray. Give her a hand, man. You know what I'm saying? Most High Christ.
Most High Christ, the water, sir. All right. So the reason, go ahead, brother.
Good question the sister asked too, if I could, sir. If I add to what Officer Zion was saying, I had that question also too about God not hearing a sinner's prayer,
right? And
then because of the I.S.U.P.K, I got understanding and wisdom on that, and you got to think about it too. Why the Most High wouldn't hear a sinner's prayer is because the Bible says that the Bible talks about having a contrite spirit and a broken heart. And what that really means is that you have to be sorry for what you've done. A sinner is really not sorry for what you're doing. When you sleep with another man's wife, you're not even sorry about it. You eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, you're having a good time, you're proud.
Right.
Like you're not sorry. You see what I'm saying? Like we were all sinners, but we had to realize what we were doing was wrong. And a precept for that would be Psalms 34:18. It says, the Most High is nigh, which means close, unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit.
Right.
That word contrite means feeling or expressing remorse or penitence affected by guilt. So you have to be sorry. And most sinners ain't sorry for what they're doing.
Right.
So the minute you eating that crab legs and you big mama pray over that pork, they're not sorry. They're all at Thanksgiving thankful for the pork. But once a brother realizes, like, I can't be doing this, then the Most High is close to you. He'll hear you. But who the hell would want to hear a sinner's prayer when they're not even sorry for the sin they're doing? Like, you wouldn't want to even hear a person who offended you and they're not even sorry. Man, you ain't trying to hear that either. So the Most High is just, the same characteristics. Like, he's not going to hear a disgusting sinner because they're not sorry for what they're doing.
Right.
Once they're sorry, have that broken spirit and contrite heart, then he's close to them. Then he'll hear their prayer.
Mm-hmm. Most High in Christ, get our brother a hand. Go ahead, brother.
Slock, if I may, I got a precept, if I may.
Go ahead.
Just how Officer Qual brought out how the Most High would be close to you. This is the flip side on why he would separate himself from you. This Isaiah 59:2. But your iniquities have separated between you and your power, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear.
The Most High in Christ. So what that mean to you?
Slock, if I may, sir, basically like you committing, adultery, you eating shrimp, crab, pork, lobster, celebrating these holidays, is doing nothing but like making the Most High look at you and turn his nose up. It's like you coming in the house and it stink. You gonna stay in the house? No, you're gonna turn around and walk out. So that's what it is. It's like he's seeing you and he's turning around and saying, nah, I don't want to deal with that.
Most High in Christ.
Right.
All right, brother. There's another article there. Go to that. We here for talk about Michael King tonight. And everybody is very familiar with Martin Luther King. But when it comes down to his dream, I don't think anybody has really went into that speech and really picked it apart from the perspective of someone in the truth, okay? A priest or prophet in the truth with understanding about what the Lord expects from you or of you, okay? So we got his speech here, and we're going to go over it just to show you the fallacy in his dream, just to show you the fallacy in what he was pushing on God's chosen people. It's a very sad thing. And the thumbnail to the video tonight, or to the class tonight, talked about how he felt like he had marched his people into a burning building. Okay. So go ahead and let's, for the sake of edification or understanding, okay, let's read this speech. You see it? Which one you at? Where you at? Most High in Christ.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered this iconic I Have a Dream speech at the March on Washington on August 28th, 1963. I have a dream. I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
Good night. So Martin Luther King felt like him, letting the world know about his dream, letting the world know about his dream as a false prophet. Now he felt like this was the greatest demonstration for freedom, okay, in the history of our nation. So there's so many things that is wrong with this first sentence, okay. Martin Luther King was happy to join. It wasn't just so-called Israelites that were out there on the March on Washington. He was joined hand in hand with all the nations. There were heathens mixed into that crowd too, and that goes against our culture, to be joined with the heathens, to be joined with the other nations, okay? And him saying that it will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom, we're not free in this place, man. Like, this is literally our last captivity. What's the precept for Esau is the end of the world? Go ahead and pull that one for me. But this being a greatest demonstration for freedom, like we wasn't free from the Emancipation Proclamation. We weren't free. Free from what, man? Free from what? Help me to understand what we have been free from. Listening to this I Have a Dream speech. That didn't put a spirit of the Lord in your heart when you heard this. This put the spirit of, agreeing with your oppressor, agreeing with your enemy, sympathizing and empathizing with, that Stockholm syndrome that we all have, that we suffer from, identifying with our oppressor and feeling like there's a reason why we're in the conditions that we're in, instead of blaming them for what they've done. Go ahead, brother.
Khan is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9.
Right.
For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of the world, man. Esau is the so-called oppressor, okay? The so-called oppressor. I'll just say that. We don't want our video getting pulled down, because censorship is a real thing. When we talk about the devil, the whole earth knows who the devil is.
That's right.
The entire earth, even the other nations know. Continue. Esau is the end of what?
Is the end of the world.
As we know it. It'll be the end of America being the greatest superpower on the planet. Okay. Right. It'll be the end of that. Continue.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
Who is Jacob? Who is Jacob? Go ahead, brother.
Like if I may, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right. Jacob, his name was changed to Israel, right? He became the progenitor or the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, First Nations, right? Jacob shall be what?
The beginning of it that follows.
The beginning of it that follows. So right now, Esau was on top. Esau's on top. We've been holding on to Esau's heel since the womb, man. Okay? He's on top right now. He's in rulership. He's in authority of the world as we know it. Okay? But the end of this captivity, it gives me hope, because I know that our oppressor will not be in authority. He will not be able to tell me where to go and how to get there. Okay? Our people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, will be in rulership. That's what that means. But your Christian pastor, he don't understand that. Martin Luther King wouldn't understand this verse that you pulled out of the Apocrypha. Read it from the top. Tell him where you are.
Khan is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of the world. He got his finger on the button as I sit here speaking to you. Donald Trump couldn't wait to drop the mother of all bombs when he got in the office. It didn't take much time for him to get inaugurated after winning the election, to drop those bombs on those heathens. It didn't take him long at all, man. That's the spirit of him. He is a murderer. He's a murderer. And this is who we have designed our lives after. That's not our culture, man. I don't want to be nothing like Donald Trump. Nothing at all. He can keep his money. He can keep his disgusting, deviant spirit. He's a sexual deviant. He's a child, okay? The Bible talks about that. As for my people, children are their oppressors. Donald Trump is a child, man. That's right. Joe Biden's a child. He likes children. Sleepy Joe, right? They call him Sleepy Joe, aka Creepy Joe, for a reason. Right. Keep reading. You seen the video. I know you've seen the video of him touching little girls. It's just a very weird embrace. We don't do that in here. We don't touch other people. We don't touch children, period, man. I mean, what kind of sick, sadistic individual would want to be attracted to a child? I don't understand it. Keep reading.
Khan. And Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
That's right, man. Jacob is the beginning of it. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, not in the spirit of separation, not lost in Christianity, man, not lost in Islam, not lost thinking and believing in America. Okay, not being the best Democrat or Republican that you could be, man. Not being a goddamn gang member or a drug addict. Okay, Jacob is what?
The beginning of it that followeth.
Jacob is the beginning of the world that followeth after Esau. So everything that the way things are right now, is going to be the complete opposite, man. It's going to be the complete opposite. And you're not going to have a choice. You're not going to have an option to sin. Whenever Christ is sitting on the throne, you're not going to have an option to eat whatever the hell you want to eat or to sleep with whatever you want to sleep with. You're not going to have that option. You're going to lose your goddamn head, Salakia. You're going to lose your head. Okay? Is that it on that? All right, let's get back to the speech, man.
50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand
Good
today.
night. He's talking about Abraham Lincoln, obviously. Okay. He called him a great American. He's disillusioned with thinking that the Emancipation Proclamation freed him. And we heard what happened down in Galveston. That's why they celebrate Juneteenth, because not all of our people were so-called emancipated in 1865? Right. Keep reading, man. Salakia.
In whose symbolic shadow we stand today.
Right.
Signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This monumentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice.
Okay, so the reason why we went into slavery underneath all oppressors is because of disobedience, because we turned our back on the Most High Power. Okay, we can let's go to Deuteronomy. Go to Deuteronomy 28. Somebody pull that. You keep your article, yeah, and just go to Deuteronomy 28, man. And let's just talk about it for a second. Deuteronomy, let's go to 27:1 real quick. You got it?
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
Right. You're not going to hear this in your Christian church, man. Moses, way back when we came out of Egypt, man, you know, he commanded the people. This is an order. You got to understand, you know, in the I.S.U.P.K, you know, we follow orders here. We are definitely militant. Okay. We're militant because it's imperative to be that. We're at war right now. And everybody else is out seeking paladins because they don't want to accept the sad truth about reality, man. We are living in hell here on the earth, you know, and it makes no sense for you to want to continue to, like I said, in that cycle of celebrating all those holidays year in and year out and the birthdays. And it just was like a never ending lull of vanity, of nothingness. Okay. But Moses with the elders of Israel made a decree. They commanded the people to do what?
Keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
Well, we've been talking about since we opened up class, keeping the commandments, man. This is how you get freed from the bondage of this captivity, man. This is the way, by keeping all the commandments, man. This goes directly against what Martin Luther King was teaching, what he was preaching about, okay? Because being joined to the other nations it goes against our laws, man. All right, keep reading the article. No, okay, no. Salakia. Yeah, drop down. Let's go to 28 and 15.
Come on. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass.
Right. This is what was going to happen. This is a prophecy, a future prophecy that was prophesied way back when, okay, when we came out of Egypt, okay, under Pharaoh, right? This is Moses speaking. What does he say?
But it shall come to pass.
Right.
If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power.
If thou wilt not what?
Hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power.
Brother, you pulled that definition for hearken earlier, right? Well, what was it? You know, we failed to hearken way back then, man. Go ahead, brother. To do what? To give respectful. We failed to give respectful attention to what, Quidam?
Unto the voice of the Lord thy power.
Man, we had the Most High Power speaking to us, man. Right. Telling us what to do and what not to do, man. And how the hell do you opt out? How do you opt out of not listening to what your father says? How do you opt out? There ain't no options, right? We chose another way, man. Continue reading.
Come. To observe, to do all his commandments.
Right.
and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
Right.
So,
So
that
to-
all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right. So we were ordered to observe, to do all his commandments, right? Salakia, brother. Cover down real quick. Give him, the water. We were commanded to do what? To observe and to keep all his commandments, right? This is way back when. This is something that we should have learned from the beginning, man. To do this thing. We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA, man. And what we coming out to do on Wednesday night is to go into the law. Okay, and right now what we're doing, for those of us that may have just joined, we're going into Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. You know, we're just talking about how he was disillusioned with the fallacy of believing that his dream, there was any truth to his dream, man. There was no truth to his dream at all. You know, Martin Luther King was a false prophet, man.
That's right.
All right. Continue with Deuteronomy 28:15 real quick.
Khan. Hearken unto the voice of the Most High,
Right,
thy power,
Right. We failed to hearken. We didn't listen to the Lord, right?
to observe, to do all his commandments.
We opted out. We didn't do any of the laws. We didn't keep no laws, no statutes. We didn't. That's why we're in the conditions that we're in right now. We were sleeping with other brothers' wives, man. We were stealing from one another. We were murdering one another, man. We're doing that to this day.
Right.
And that's why we're dealing with the curses from way back here in Deuteronomy, man. Continue.
And his statutes,
Right.
which I command thee this day,
Okay.
that all these curses,
All these what?
all these curses,
All these curses, man. That's what we're dealing with in the so-called year 2022. We're dealing with curses, man. This is a spiritual thing. It's the reason why you're living in the goddamn ghetto, man. On the barrio, on the reservation, in the favelas. This is the reason why. Because we're dealing with curses. And why are we cursed? Why?
Slack if I may. We didn't hearken unto the voice.
Something as simple as listening, man. Something as simple as listening. If your children are acting out of line, you want them to listen to you. What are you going to do to get their attention? You gonna curse your children? What do you do to get your kids in line lawfully? What do you do? Anybody got kids in here? You don't have no kid, Most High Christ. Go ahead, Quadon, what you got? How you get your son in order?
So, like, sir, if I may, I definitely talked to YAHANNA about this a while ago. Growing up in a Christian church, we taught to just beat they behind.
Right.
And I learned, one thing is growing up, you're not really knowledgeable of why you get into trouble. They just beat you.
Right.
When which I don't understand it. I never understood it because even the Most High told us, like you bringing out of Deuteronomy, if you do this, you'll be punished.
Right.
If you do this, you'll be rewarded.
Right.
So if you're not letting your child know, I'm punishing you for this, and this is why you're doing it, they can never learn from it.
That's right.
So with my son, I asked him, what you did wrong? And he said, no, I used it as a teaching moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because even the disappointment of that son knowing that his father's disappointed with him, that's a beating for him already.
Right.
So even me letting him know, like, I don't like what you did, but we're going to fix this.
That's right.
Now, if he getting too unorderly, then, like I say, spare the rise before the child, it's like, so we going to have to, get them right. But again, there's different ways, like I've learned too, hey, make them do some push-ups.
Right.
It's something about hearing drop that'll make, let you know you need to get right. You know what I mean? Salakia. So
Most High Christ. Give that brother a hand, man. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You got to get his attention, right? The Lord has gotten our attention via these curses, man. The reason why we don't have a pot to piss in nor a window to throw it out of, man. Poverty is a curse.
Salaki though. We want to take it up a notch though.
Mm.
A lot of us don't understand what's the reward of being obedient, right? So you talking about what's an obedient child? Hey, I tell you what, you get straight A's. What you want, that motorcycle? You know what I mean, Carter? What you want, that with an Xbox 16? What they got now? What's it called? The Xbox what? PS4 Want that PS5? Let me see you get straight A's. Would you be more inclined to get straight A's if you knew you would get that PS5? You would, right? The Lord, see, a lot of us don't understand what the kingdom is. If you understood we would receive the kingdom and we knew what the kingdom was, that means you wouldn't be getting shot by police.
Right.
You understand? We wouldn't have drug addicts. You would have your uncles and your fathers and the mothers that you're supposed to have in your household if we knew what the kingdom was. But the Christian church never tells you what the kingdom is. They don't even tell you what rulership is. So you don't even understand the reward you would get if you were to hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God.
Right.
You understand? You run away from it so much that one of the major influential leaders in Christianity, Creflo Dollar, say the law is what the hell he said? The law is over with. And they don't need to keeping the law no more, right? Yeah, it's evil to keep the law. So Carter, how the hell are you gonna get your PS5 and you don't make straight A's? Guess what you must come to the conclusion of, young man Carter? You're not getting that damn PS5. You understand? You know what I'm saying? It's simple, right? There it go. But the Lord done told us over and over again, you keep my law, statutes, and commandments, you be obedient. Guess what? Boom, I got you. Rulership. But if not, you're not getting that PS5. What you're going to get is exactly what's coming to you, exactly what you deserve. And over a period of time, we've seen what we went wrong at, and the Lord done gave us naughty heads. You understand?
That's right.
But there's a day where we're gonna wake up and see like what this thing really is. When that great man of sin be revealed, and you're gonna be like, oh, you've been playing we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it. Then you may get your what, young man Carter? All right, there's the Most High in Christ. You understand that, right? So we can understand the children so they can learn that bunk, y'all. So we have to start at an early age and teaching our people what's the reward of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, which is rulership, the kingdom. You understand? Go ahead, Bunky.
Most High in Christ. Lord be with you on that pursuit to get that PS5, brother. That's going to take a miracle. Continue with that. Is that it on that verse?
Law, sir.
Go ahead.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
All right. So when you think about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we talk about curses. You know, elaborate. What are the curses that we're under right now?
So, like, if I may
go to anywhere where we exist on the earth, okay, and just observe, behold, okay. Tell me what you see. Tell me what you know. Go ahead, brother.
So like you said, the food we eat is not up to par. You know, every barrio, ghetto, reservation has, you know, a McDonald's, a Burger King, a Popeyes. It has that near. It doesn't have the, you know, the right food that we need at a reasonable price.
Right. You see, Martin Luther King, he wasn't focused on that. He was focused on eating in a white restaurant. Right. He was focused on eating at the lunch counter. He put that spirit on them, the Greensboro Four, to go down to Woolworths and sit and be spit on and have ketchup and mustard squirted all over you, and be berated with all sorts of racial epithets. You know, you getting called, you know, everything in the book just so you can sit down where you're not wanted. Doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, make it make sense. I don't understand why anybody would do that. I really don't. It's a very insane thing to witness. And when you come into the truth, you really look at it like, man, I can't believe brothers would do that. Because we don't know who we are, man. You would be reviled and disgusted to even want to, you know, patronize Woolworths just on the strength of knowing who you are. I mean, what are they serving there that we couldn't get in our you know, in the little greasy spoon mom and pop spot? What's the spot we go to in Charlotte after camp? Nah. Yeah, I missed that spot. Oh man, I mean, Harold's? Is it Harold's? No, it ain't Harold's. Is it Harold's? I don't know. We had to get Officer Abraham on the phone. He know. Well, Shabaya Allah, he know. He definitely know. He the one to put us onto that spot. If you in the chat, put that restaurant in there. You got all the black stars on the wall, pictures of Aretha Franklin and James Brown, all on the wall, man. You can get, you know, beef ribs and, you know, they fried fish in there. The soul food spot, man. What the heck do you think they were serving at Woolworths? that was more appealing or appetizing than what we had in our own restaurants, man. Help me to understand. They're serving casserole, right? Good night. What is that? Oh man, say that again. Right. You know, drop that. You just mentioned the food, you know, the food deserts that our people have to endure because, like I said, the oppressor hoards resources to himself. They only put Whole Foods in neighborhoods or communities where they know people are going to spend the money, you know, for the quality of the food. That's why they put the McDonald's in your neighborhood, because it's got a dollar menu. That's why we get familiar with the fo for fo. You know, all the foods that absolutely are, you know, if you eat too much of anything, it's, you know, bad for you. But it's low nutrient food, you know. You're not getting the Whole Foods in Marcy, you know, Marcy Projects. There's not going to be a Whole Foods right there. It just wouldn't make sense to do that economically in his mind. But it's a human right for you to have access to these things. You would think having compassion just for other human beings, other forms of other life forms, this lets you know what they think of you. So-called Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman, and child. You, at one point in time in this nation's history, you were deemed property. And then from there, they institute a 3/5 clause where you're not even a whole person with regard to voting. So it would take you and another brother in order for you to equate to one full vote. And that ain't even our custom, to vote, which is Martin Luther King was a big proponent for voting. He wanted people to buy into this so-called democratic system of this republic, man. And it's ridiculous. They say you can be left wing or right wing. It's still, you know, it's still the same dirty bird, man. There you go. Get that brother a hand. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Floyd, Most High in Christ. Whoever, man, that brother right there. How long has Floyd's been around? Been around for a while, hadn't it? Most High in Christ, man. That's what we need. We need more of that. More Black-owned businesses, man. More mom and pop spots. And you should patronize these places, man. Versus going to the Woolworths. It don't even exist anymore. You did all that to sit at the counter that was destroyed. Went out of business, man. Where you at? Man, drop that. You know, we talking about the curses. Let's go to Jeremiah 23 and 25, man. Matter of fact, let's go to Jeremiah 23, 1 and 2. Let's knock those out first. We talking about Martin Luther King. Everybody named Mama done heard of Martin Luther King's dream. You heard this speech, okay? You know what Martin Luther King was about. He was about the mixing of the nations. He was about equality. He was about diversity and inclusion. All these things that, you know, are being harped upon in the current era, in contemporary times. These things are things that matter to the powers that be, okay? But the God of this Bible has always been a God of separation, man. You know, he didn't include the other nations in the giving of the law. He didn't give a damn about the other nations when it came down to giving these laws, statutes, and commandments. He gave them to one specific family, man. One particular group of people, man. The Israelites. If you ain't Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, man, this doesn't concern you. We're talking about family business right now, okay? You got it, brother?
Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 1.
Most High in Christ.
Woe be unto the pastors.
Who?
Woe be unto the pastors.
Woe. What does woe? That word woe mean? I ain't talking about Black Rob's woe. What does woe mean? Go ahead, brother. Who? The Lord don't give a damn about the pastors, man. He wants the pastors to be destroyed, man. Woe be unto who?
The pastors.
What was Martin Luther King, man?
The pastors.
Martin Luther King was a pastor. T.D. Jakes is a
pastor.
Creflo Dollar is a
pastor.
What's the brother with the spit? Mike Todd is a
pastor.
Good night. Woe be unto the pastors, man. Continue.
That destroy.
The who?
That destroy.
They destroy. What does it mean to destroy? You destroy anything, man. What does it mean to destroy something? You're not caring for it. You don't give a damn about this thing. Continue.
And scatter the sheep of my pasture.
Man, we have been destroyed and we have been scattered. You know, as the sheep of the Lord's pasture. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we stuck in the Christian church. What denomination are you? First thing you ask, somebody find out you're a Christian. What are you? Oh, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. Oh, I'm Pentecostal. Oh, I'm AME Zion. I'm holiness. Oh, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. That's dissension, man. We scattered, man, in this place. We scattered in America. And it's supposed to be about unity in this place, right? The pastors destroy us. How do they destroy us? By teaching that the laws are done away with, man. You think Martin Luther King gave a damn about God's laws? He didn't. He smoked cigarettes. He ate pork. He slept with white women. He worshiped on Sunday. He collected tithes and told you that the law was done away with. Martin Luther King was a liar, man. He wasn't true to serving the Lord. And the Lord destroyed him because of that. Woe is what the brother said. Be unto who?
Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture.
That's right. Who said that, though?
Saith the Lord.
Say it the most high power, man. Continue.
Verse 2. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel.
Of who?
Of Israel.
No, of Elam.
Of Israel.
Of Salakia. Of Elam.
Of Israel.
No, of Edom.
Of Israel.
Of Ham.
Of Israel.
Of Israel, man. You're not going to hear that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are Israel. You ain't hearing that nowhere. They're going to take you over to the Holy Land right now. You think those are the people of the book? You think those are the people that are suffering from these curses in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter? Keep reading, brother.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people.
The Lord is speaking this against the pastors, man, against Martin Luther King, against Jake Todd, or against Creflo Dollar, against T.D. Jakes, man, against Juanita Bynum and Shirley Caesar, man, and John Gray. What is the Lord saying?
Ye have scattered my flock.
He's letting you know what you've done. You've scattered my flock. You got them following after false doctrine. You wear Jordans, and now everybody in the church want to go and break the bank to cop Jordans and wear off-white, man. You collect tithes, but you say the law is done away with, man. I mean, help me to understand that. You say you don't even acknowledge the Old Testament. You don't acknowledge the Old Testament at all. Say the law of sacrifice was nailed to the cross with Christ, and it wasn't. You are the sacrifice. Keep reading, brother.
Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away.
And driven them away, man. Driven them away. People left the church. They don't want nothing to do with this book because some greasy bastard put his hands on it and did what had his way with it. Devoid of understanding, man. And had the audacity to want up and to want to teach you about what the Lord said, man. Keep reading, brother.
And have not visited them.
And have not what?
Visited them.
Man, they have not visited God's chosen people, man. Your pastors, your preachers ain't in the ghettos like we are. We visit God's chosen people, man. We be in some of the crummiest ghettos, man. Prophesying, man, crying aloud, sparing not, man. On the Sabbath, we do the work. We got food programs, man. This school is positioned right next to CCJ, man. Right next to the jail. We got prison programs, man. We feed the people. We clothe the people. We're visiting the people in the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General YAHANNA. What the hell is your pastor doing? The last time I checked, the church was closed. Why Yahweh Shah, man? We're dealing with pestilence right now in the form of, we ain't going to say it, but one less reason to get the video flagged. But everybody and their mama's been touched by this pestilence, this disease, this virus. And it's mutating and it's different variants now. And they don't have an answer for it, man. That's from the Lord. Wake up. Keep reading, brother.
Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away.
Right.
And have not visited them.
That's right. We visit the people in this place, man. We just not doing photo ops, going to a Shriners Hospital and taking pictures and, supposedly praying over the sick and shut in. You always see that, you know what I'm saying? We're going to pray for the sick and shut in. Instead of you going and putting boots on the goddamn ground and doing the work like these brothers in here. You should be ashamed of yourself, man. Woe be unto the pastors, man. Continue.
Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings.
And the Lord is just going to return evil upon you, man. That same spirit of you sleeping with them so-called oppressors, those devils behind closed doors. The whole world didn't know that about Michael King. They didn't know that. The FBI had to actually investigate him. In order for that to come out, what's done in the dark will come to the light, right? All things are going to be revealed eventually. Here, we reveal those things in the I.S.U.P.K, man. We know what time it is out here. We know that Martin Luther King was a false prophet, not based off of the things that he did, but the things that he said. Continue, man.
Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith the Lord.
That's right, man. You're going to be revisited, man. You're going to be visited by evil, man. Straight up evil. It's evil for you to teach that it's okay for us to intermarry. That's illegal. That's evil. That's wickedness, man. The Lord flooded the earth because of that. It's evil and wicked for you to pray over pork. Evil and wicked of you to do that. Martin Luther King, he lied to God's chosen people, man. He lied. He gave us a song and a dance, and he did a little bit of marching, and you worship him. You erect statues in his honor all over America. You name streets after him. But he did absolutely nothing, man, but scatter and destroy God's chosen people, man. He didn't do nothing to help us. Where has Martin Luther King's dream gotten you? Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman, and child? Where? Think about it. Ponder upon that. Loving your enemy. Where has it gotten you? Drop that. Let's go to Isaiah 56 and 10. No, drop that. Just drop down to Jeremiah 23. Let's go to the 25th chapter. Let's go to the 25th verse. 23rd chapter, 25th verse.
Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 25.
Right.
I have heard what the prophet said.
Right. Jeremiah said he hadn't heard what the prophets had said, right? Who are the prophets of today? This should be easy. Go ahead, brother. The prophets of today are who? The so-called prophets of today are. Who are the prophets of today? Right. There you go. Put some respect on that name. We're the true priests and prophets, right? But Michael Todd is the prophet that's spoken about right here, okay? And it says, I have heard what?
I have heard what the prophet said.
He said that serving God sometimes get nasty, right? Good night. Where do I read that in here? Serving the Lord is going to be nasty. Come on, man. That was one of the most gayest things I've ever seen done. The book of Jesus, most likely, but don't drag easy into this. Good night, man. Continue.
I have heard what the prophet said that prophesy lies in my name.
They prophesy what?
Prophesy lies in my
No,
name.
so they prophesy truths.
Lies in my name.
Martin Luther King was a liar, according to what Jeremiah said. In whose name?
That prophesy lies in my name, saying
they lie in the name of the Lord on Sunday. They lie in the name of the Lord on Saturday. If you're a 7-day Baptist or a 7-day Adventist, you ain't getting no truth in there. Their dietary laws are garbage. Garbage. You learn how to be a gay in those places, man. You learn how to not love your brother in those places. You learn how to actually hate the children of Israel in those places, man. Keep reading.
That prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed.
What?
I have dreamed.
Martin Luther King said, I have what?
I have dreamed.
Martin Luther King, you think he read this verse before he decided to write that speech? He don't know this book, man. Ain't no way a priest and prophet in here would have ever wrote a speech with this title, I have dreamed. I have a dream. Keep reading.
How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies?
How long are we going to continue to be stuck in the goddamn Christian church, man? How long? How long you continue to serve yourself, man? How long you going to continue to be a selfish bastard and show no love to your brother, man? You ain't doing no real work. When have you helped anyone? When have you served anyone outside of yourself? You ain't never served the God of this Bible. We're showing you how to do it. We're doing it. Keep reading.
Yea, they are prophets of the deceit of their own
They are
heart.
prophets of the deceit of their own heart, man. What does the scripture say? There's a way which seemeth right unto a man. Come on, man. The deceit of their heart. Their own minds be lying to them, thinking that this is right because it feels good to do this thing. But the Lord said, don't do it. You ain't got no fear in your heart for the Lord, man. To lean upon your own understanding? Keep reading.
Verse 27, which think to cause my people to forget my
To
name.
forget who?
To forget my
We don't
name.
even know the name of the Lord these days, man. They call Christ Yeshua, Yeshiva, Yeshiva, and come on, man. You don't even know the name of Christ, let alone the Most High Power. His name is Yahweh. And you better put some respect on that name, man. That name is not to be taken lightly at all. And they do what now?
Which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor.
Good night, man. Where was Martin Luther King when he eloquently, professed this dream? Where was he? He gave honor to the site, man. He talked about how symbolic and how hallowed, being on the wall of the Washington Mall, how it was hallowed ground, man. In his speech, if you read it, you can Google it, man. I ain't got time to be reading this mess. It's nothing but lies here, okay? It's the reason why we're in the conditions that we're in as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. We got to do away with Martin Luther King and his goddamn dream, man. Stop dreaming. Wake up. Keep reading, brother.
As their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal.
Right, man. We out here worshiping Satan. You don't even know you're worshiping Satan. Christianity is white supremacy, man. We don't have any time to waste, man. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. We have work to do. We got work to do. Stop believing in Martin Luther King and his dream, man. He did nothing for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, but put us in a far worse condition. And with that, I'm going to pass the class to Priest and Officer Kawal. Yahweh. You got it, brother? Got it.
With security announcement with I.S.U.P.K. started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she